welcome to the Chamber Connection. I'm Regina Allison, president of the Blairsville-Union County Chamber of Commerce. We've got a fantastic show for you today. My first guest joining me, a lot of you in Union County know Miss Sylvia very well, Sylvia Dyer Turnage, and she has got a lot of rich Union County history in her family, and I wanted her to come on today and share about the Micajah Clark Dyer Foundation. For those of you who are not familiar with Micajah Clark Dyer, he is an important part of Union County history, and so she's going to tell us about him today. So thank you for joining me, Sylvia.
Yeah,
appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. Now, Micajah Clark Dyer, he was an ancestor of yours, so tell me about how you're related to him and the history of how the family got here to Union County.
They called him Clark. His name was Micajah Clark Dyer, but he was always called Clark. He is my great-great-grandfather.
Oh, wow. Neat. That's awesome. So, and now he grew up in Union County, but he wasn't born in Union County. He was born in White County. Is that correct?
He actually was born in Pendleton, South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
But yes, they moved into White County when he was just 4 years old.
Oh, and then they came across the mountain to Union.
Yeah, they lived there, farmed there. They always were farmers. And they moved across Tesney Gap, you know, and they were on the Yona mountainside, if you know how the geography is. But he was 11 years old when they came into Union County, and that was the beginning of Union County. It was formed in 1832 out of the Cherokee lands after the land was sold, some say stole.
Yeah, yeah.
And in many ways that's true. They came into Union County, and he lived here until his death.
Right. Now, he was a young man when he died, but he did a lot of amazing things throughout his life, and what he is most famous for is his machine for navigating the air. I guess that was that the official title of it, or what was it actually called?
Apparatus for navigating the air.
Apparatus for navigating the air, which is absolutely fascinating. And we have some pictures. I know a model was built by a retired Delta employee, Mr. Jack Allen, and so he built is the model actually true to size what it would be, or is it a scale model that he built, Sylvia?
It's a scale model that he built. We are dying to get a full-size one done, and we'll get there. I mean, it's been amazing. Many dreams that we've had of things we wanted to do slowly are fulfilled.
Right.
So I'm expecting it to happen one day.
That would be fantastic. Yeah. I know you've been very actively involved in this for a long time. Since the foundation has begun, I know that you've had a House resolution and for Micajah Clark Dyer, and then there's a road named after him now. And what road is that in Union County?
That's Georgia Highway 180.
Great. And
from where it leaves US 19 and 129 and heads east to the Brasstown Ball Mountain Spur. That is now named the Micajah Clark Dyer Parkway, and that's what the resolution was.
To name the road.
Was to name the road, yeah.
And why was that section of road chosen to be named after him? Is that his own homestead was right there?
It goes absolutely right through the original land.
Oh, that's wonderful. Is that where the land where he took flight and actually tested the apparatus? Around there?
It's not exactly on the road, but from the road you look back, because the people own, Micajah himself wound up owning 400 acres of land. He might have owned more. The way you find these things generally is through the old censuses, and the agricultural ones are the best ones because they tell, you get lots of information there. So we know he had at least 400 acres because that was recorded in one of the agricultural censuses.
Well, that's a lot of room to try out his apparatus. So tell me, give me a description of what it's made out of and how it actually worked. I mean, this is really neat. This is something way ahead of his time. To come up with something like this was amazing. This was before the Wright brothers even. This was what, 20, 30 years before the Wright brothers' first flight.
His patent was issued 29 years.
29 years.
Before the Wright brothers flew in 1903 at
Kitty Hawk.
Kildelva Hill.
Wow.
The material, he used materials that were available. You know, he was a poor man. I mean, they didn't, I guess everything they had went into land since they had such big amounts, but they had these big families, so they didn't have money for things. And if that bothered him, we have no record of it. I mean, he just took whatever he did have available. But his original model, he used cured river canes. And he boiled shucks. You know, if you boil, shucks are corn shucks are lightweight. You can boil them and mash them flat and make, it's like fabric.
Oh, I
so
didn't
he
know that.
covered those river cane wings with the boiled corn shucks.
Oh, that is neat.
So he used pine, we believe. Much of this comes down just through oral. There was next to nothing written, which is why this story was so long being told.
Right.
But used pine, thin sheets of pine, to build the hull. And but then when he built his big machine, we believe he used birch, because birch is easy. Birch bark is tough, but it's malleable. You know, you can soak it and bend it any way you wish. And the Indians used that a lot. You know, they learned a lot.
Yeah, they did.
From what the Indians did. They learned from us as newcomers, but we learned from them because they had been here a long time and had learned to live off the land.
That is really interesting. Now, what actually inspired him to want to build something like this to try to fly?
Well, and the story that comes down, they say he watched the birds flying, and he said, if birds can fly like that, man ought to be able to build something that he can fly like that. Then when you get into his patent, he actually says that it's on the design of an eagle. It's designed like an eagle.
That is neat.
So that was his inspiration. He wanted to fly. But then he was always making things. He was quite an inventor of things. He never seemed to seek attention to it. And I can only believe that he did this patent thing because he was so anxious for it to be built, and he wanted to protect it so somebody could keep it and work it to conclusion.
That is really neat. That is
So,
neat. Now, one of the pictures that we have is a newspaper article that you shared with us where he was seeking funding for building it. Did he ever get that funding? Do you know? Is there any record
There's
of that?
no record of whether he got it or not. He got the money somewhere to build to build one that was capable of flying. Now, he may have already flown his original machine. His patent was granted in 1874.
Wow.
And that was 1885 that you saw the article where he was seeking funds. And that gentleman, a friend of his, was also the county commissioner. And he knew people over in Athens at the Banner newspaper. And so he asked him, he said, "Will you help me seek funding?" And so Mr. Rich obliged.
That is really neat. What a great story. I wondered, as I was thinking about him taking test flights, I thought, well, surely one or two got banged up in the process. He probably had to do repairs or rebuild some things.
No doubt, no doubt.
So that's why I thought he may need more funding.
Yeah.
Do you actually have, I know there's not a lot of written records, do you actually know how many of these that he built and test flew or anything like that?
I don't know how many. You know, there were 3 witnesses that were still left by the time we first began to work on this. My nephew, Kenneth Akins, did the first story back when he was teaching. He was a teacher of special ed, not special ed, but the gifted class, or whatever they call it, advanced or whatever. And he teamed up with Robert Davis, who's a historian, and the two of them went searching, trying to find records, because they had decided that these folks that they talked to were so convinced. I mean, you know, they were so convinced, and they said, wait a minute, this is not some wild family tale. This happened.
This really happened, yeah.
But they came up empty-handed. You asked me what it was called. Well, airplane was not a word.
Yeah.
So the question became, I mean, they searched for airplane, different things. Nothing came up.
Right.
Of course, they searched under Clark Dyer because everybody called him Clark. Nothing turned up anywhere. So when it finally was found, of course, it was apparatus for navigating the air. So.
Well, that covers it all, so you can't cite that. Now, if people wanted to find out more information and actually see a model of it, where here in Union County are there things on display, Sylvia, for them to be able to go and see? I believe it's on display at the courthouse. There's some information there, the old courthouse.
There is the model that Mr. Jack Allen built, and he did a marvelous job. Everybody should go see it.
It is beautiful.
It's an inspiration just to look at it. That is on display in the old Union County Courthouse on the square in Blairsville. And there is the first model that was made when we were having a dedication ceremony for the parkway that was named for Micajah Clark Dyer. This young man built a quick model. I mean, he did it quickly, but you know, he did a pretty good job. That one's on display in the Union County Library.
Oh, nice.
Public library.
Very good.
So you can see the two different models, but the real genius to scale model that was built by Mr. Allen is in the Historical Society's museum.
Very good.
The monument, which was placed for him at his grave, is in the old Choi-Stoi Cemetery. And that is, the Choi-Stoi Church as it exists today is there on Highway 180, which is now the Micajah Clark Dyer Parkway. But there's a half circle that goes around to Collins Road. And before you get to Collins Road, if you've turned from 180, you come to the old cemetery on the left, and that monument is down at the end. But it's quite impressive in and of itself. And of course, the road was named, so we have the beautiful road signs that DOT put up.
That is really great.
Let's see, that's probably the main things that exist today that people can take a look at.
Which is wonderful. And you've written a book as well.
I have written a couple of books as well.
Yes, and
I
you're
did.
in the process of writing apparently a biography from what you're sharing with me, and I know you're working intensely on getting that done. So now, if somebody wanted to reach out to you to find out more information about him, what's the best way that they can contact you, Sylvia?
They can go to we formed a foundation, which is a nonprofit organization. Contributions are tax deductible. Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code.
Right.
But the foundation has a website, and it's MicajahClarkDyer.org, O-R-G. And all the information is there, the location of his home place, the phone number, and the email address, so you can go there and see any of those.
Well, that is great. This is an important part of our history, so thank you for coming on today and sharing this information. I know there's so much to tell, and it's hard to get it all in a few minutes, but we wanted to let people know more information and a chance to get to visit with you through me and get a chance to know more about Micajah Clark Dyer and have the information how they can get in contact with you. So thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for
so
having
much,
me.
Sylvia.
I love to tell the story.
I know, it's wonderful. So we'll be right back.